Hello, welcome to Silver Arrow Tarot. This is Amanda. I'm back with another pick a card reading. Today, I feel inspired to do a reading about love. I don't like to necessarily focus on love readings, but it feels very in alignment for me today. And it definitely was evident when I started shuffling how much these messages wanted to come out, because the cards were definitely flying and speaking to me even before I was intentionally shuffling each deck. So there was a lot of wisdom and messages wanting to come forward for the collective today, my followers, and anyone who will stumble across my readings in the future. So these readings are definitely for now and into the future, whenever you find yourself ready and drawn to watch. Now, I wanted to mention the cards that were sort of showing themselves before I started getting into the individual piles, and I was noticing that one of the cards came out called Repetition, and I saw patterns, and saw Holly from this Tree Spirit Tarot, which, oh my god, you guys, I'm going to put a link in the description. I am not sponsored, but this deck is freaking incredible. Incredible. You have to buy it separately from the book. The book you can get on Amazon. Anyway, it's amazing. It's so amazing. You'll see in the readings. So there is this general theme of uncovering deeper layers of yourself and looking at patterns and cycles. As we know, like that, I mean, that makes sense, right? Since this reading is all about blocks to your love life, we tend to repeat patterns and cycles that we are not aware of until we become conscious of them. And that can be what holds us back from greater, more fulfilling love relationships. And the other thing I wanted to mention before I get into the readings was that as I was picking the decks that wanted to come forward, of course, this deck really wanted to be worked with today, and it's the Tree Spirit deck and the Sacred Earth Oracle Spirit deck, or the Sacred Earth Oracle deck by Tony Carmine Salerno and Leah J. Williams. And so both of these definitely struck me as very connected to the planet Earth and Gaia, the Earth element, and that made, as I was sitting in meditation, it came into my awareness that the Earth's abundance actually includes humans. So if you think, you can think about, we often think about abundance in terms of money, resources, but the sheer amount of humans on the planet that other humans can choose from in terms of connection, there is definitely an abundance of that. There's 7, almost 8 billion people on this planet for us to connect to bond with, to have deep, intimate connections with. And so we can think about that, and I think that's definitely a relevant point in talking about love, because I think we can often feel in relationships, especially when someone we love, when we've ended something with someone we love, that it can often feel like there won't be another chance to feel that way about somebody else. And I think that this is a reminder that there are so many people out there, and as someone wise once told me, what you are seeking is also seeking you. So with that, I am going to do a little Palo Santo, and we'll get into your piles. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And I'm going to just quickly give us a little energy cleanse. All right. So I will see you in your pile, guys, and I hope you enjoy. All right, bye. Hello, pile one. Welcome to your reading. Let's look at your cards, and then we'll get into the messages. So we have from the Sacred Earth Oracle, we have Revolution. And from the Tree Spirit Tarot, you have 10 of Evergreens, which relates to pine tree and responsibility. We have Renewal. We have 9 of Nuts, Acorn, Achievement. And we have Shift from the Sacred Earth Oracle deck. And we have from 4 Fruit Trees, Plum, and Patience. And then from the Black and Gold Edition Tarot, I have King of Cups reversed. You have 7 of Wands reversed. You have Hermit. And you have 9 of Pentacles. And I just want to quickly point out before I get into the cards deeply, we have these cards are, you know, this in this deck, Nuts is the same as Pentacles. So you have 2 9 of Pentacles in your reading, which is very, very interesting. All right, guys. So as I said, the theme for almost all of these readings, is a theme around recognizing our patterns and how we contributed to the pattern. And you have responsibility here with Pine Tree. So I feel like a block that might be coming up for your pile is sitting and really looking at how you may have contributed to certain patterns in your love life. I feel here with this King of Cups in reverse that there might be some emotional ungroundedness, because the King of Cups often, in his upright, is someone who's very in control of his emotions. He feels them very deeply, but he's also very in control of them, and he doesn't let them overtake him or rule his behavior. So I feel like with this King of Cups paired with the 7 of Wands is someone who's struggling to, especially in reverse here, or someone who is in the process of kind of getting a hold of their emotional reactions. And so this may be something that you need to take a look at, or something you're currently working on. And so that's part of this card, meaning about revolution, about the cycle, the revolving tendency to get trapped in one particular kind of loop, is you are playing out these emotional kind of patterns that may have started in your childhood, and you may not be fully conscious that they are happening. And I'm getting a vibe of a little bit of like a reactionary or a reactivity with your emotional responses. So something to take a look at, something to contemplate. But with this renewal and patience, and it's really telling me that your patience with yourself is really what's the most important thing right now. Being in the middle of your reading, I feel like that's sort of like the center of the message, is to really spend time going inward with the hermit. Is hermit's an archetype of really digging deep and going inward and spending some time with yourself and learning the way in which you work, and the way in which, it's just inner knowledge, it's inner wisdom. And so this is a process that takes time, and I feel that your guides are really saying just to have patience with that process and have some grace with that process. And that I just want to let you know, like, the bottom of the deck, the bottom of this gold deck, you had what was it? The Wheel of Fortune. So that's all about destiny. And so I feel like your destiny is assured, is how I sort of see that, is like wherever you want to be going, it's going to happen, and they want to give you a little bit of reassurance that it is going to happen. So it's interesting that you have this Nine of Pentacles, because she's usually kind of like the independent woman kind of card. But I'm really kind of getting a different vibe here with this. It's more about being in control, having self-discipline, having mastery within yourself. And I wanted to go ahead and read this book, the Tree Spirit Tarot, because I've just been blown away by the accuracy of the messages in the book, how they just really hit the nail on the head. So let's look at Nine of Nuts, Acorn Achievement, and I think that will help you a lot. Let's see if I can find. It's a very thick book, as you can see. So, all right. So, Nine of Nuts. I'm gonna take a look. Acorn signals a time of achievement, when we have reached a point in our life where we can now appreciate the beauty and abundance that we have been nurturing. Message. Acorn reminds us to stay humble even during times of great achievement. This is a time to embrace the art of self-sufficiency, self-discipline, and self-control. As we master these aspects of life, we begin to flow in harmony with the natural rhythms of nature. Acorn's appearance suggests that we are about to sprout a new plan, or a new opportunity will soon appear. So it's interesting that it's talking about, just want to bring it back to, it's talking about natural rhythms of nature, because it really makes me think about this card, Revolution, how everything sort of comes back in a circle. We have winter, we have spring, we have summer and fall, and we have this cycle that comes full circle, and it repeats. So and this card is really a very hopeful message as well, because it's talking about how you are in this period of about to start something new, new opportunity. Nines are, completion of a cycle. So you are on this process, you are shifting things are moving, even if they don't feel like they are. We often have blocks to really seeing the truth of a situation in terms of movement, because our brains have a tendency to sort of kind of negate small progress. And once we've made a step forward, we then immediately feel that is now our ground zero. And it's just a trick of the mind, really, that we tend to do. And it's hard to see how far we've come over time because we are in the process of moving forward always. So it's hard to see in clarity and in hindsight, just how much progress we have been making. Let's look at 4 of fruit trees just to see. Like I said, I love this. The messages in this book are just so beautiful and wise. So, 4 of fruit trees. Spirit of Plum speaks to the value and patience and importance of remaining calm during challenging times. Message. The Plum Spirit reminds us to be patient until the right moment arrives before acting. While we wait, we are encouraged to continue moving forward with other activities. Patience understands the importance of timing in all aspects of our lives. Now is not a time for hasty decisions or actions. Trust in the process that moves beneath the surface. Trust in the process that moves beneath the surface. So, yeah, really speaks to really settling into your process, really settling into a trust in your process, and working on this part of you that may act in haste when emotionally triggered. And it's really encouraging you to work towards sitting with yourself and really processing a feeling before you maybe take an action step. And that's really going to, I feel, help improve your relationships and your love life. So that is all I'm seeing for pile 1. I hope this was beneficial to you. Thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to reading and being with you in the future. I hope this resonated. Please leave a comment below in the comments if it did. And I will see you very soon. Bye, guys. Hi, beautiful pile 2. Welcome to your reading. I'm very excited to get into these messages. It's been very enlightening for me looking at all these cards. And very interesting message, I have to say, right off the bat for pile 2 here. And something I didn't really anticipate coming through, but it's very clear with the cards. So let's look. You have Alliance, your first card. Also, Hermit card came up in pile 1. So I don't know if you may have been deciding between pile 1 and pile 2. There might be some messages in pile 1 for you as well. So we have Hermit, Banyan, and Reflection. You have from the Tree Spirit Tarot, Earth Keeper of Fruits, Fig, Nature in reverse. And we have Dependability, you also have here Messenger of Nuts in reverse. It says Hazelnut, Manifestation. And we have 4 of Evergreens. Redwood, Community. So you may be seeing a theme already. And your card here, Absence. And for your black and gold tarot, you have 6 of Swords, Judgment, and 3 of Cups in reverse. Okay, pile 2. So right off of the bat, I heard unfinished business. So you may have some kind of unfinished business here, especially with regards to a family or community, some kind of community or tribal kind of, I'm getting like tribal kind of a vibe, community, relationships dynamic. And I'm kind of getting the sense that you may have walked away from something, either consciously, or it may have been sort of felt like you weren't conscious, like you weren't intentionally choosing it. Some kind of circumstances or situation may have created it. But nonetheless, you walked away to gain some kind of reflection. There was some learning in this, for you to go inward, to reflect, to heal, to get some kind of a benefit, a learning. And I feel like I also heard reuniting. So you may, it may just be a temporary situation, but there's going to be a reclamation. There's going to be some kind of rebirth, from this disconnection situation. You may have been feeling that, you know, you feel shaken. You may have been feeling shaken about the dependability and the solidity of your relationships. And it's interesting that's coming up in a romantic kind of, I mean, that was sort of my intention, to talk about like romantic blocks to partnership, but there's something in here tied into a community. So you may subconsciously be projecting like your community experience here with your romantic relationships. But there's some lesson to be learned here around nurturing yourself, or some healing to be done around feeling dependent on others, or you know, in a disempowered state with regards to feeling nurtured. So let's look at Earth Keeper fruit trees. It says fig nurture. Fig trees represent our earthly nature as co-creators. As a keystone species, the fig awakens our collective memory of belonging to each other and inspires us to share our creative energy and desires. Figs resemble a womb, signaling that now is a fertile time in our life. Fig encourages us to look for new openings in life and to consciously co-create for the greater good. This is a time of increased creativity, energy, and success. So you may have walked away from something temporarily, or maybe you didn't know whether it was temporary or not, but there's some learning in this around co-creating. There's so many messages here. It's so cool to me that this card is, you know, talking about community and co-creating, and belonging to each other. So there's definitely a lesson in here, or some healing around learning how to rely on other people, learning how it's safe to, who is safe to, or who you want to commit to. And yeah, there's a healing around that. What's nurturing, who's nurturing, what feels safe. So let's see. It says, look for partnerships or groups that bring harmony, inspiration, and fuel a creative spirit, and feed the mind, body, and soul. Artistic pursuits are highly encouraged. So you may be wanting to look for a community that helps you get in touch with your creativity, or is it, a community of people that are very artistic, creators. Something that might be important to you, or something that's going to help you in your partnerships in the future. There's something about healing around partnerships and finding groups that feel harmonious to you. So you may have walked away from a group that didn't feel like it was in alignment. You have Messenger of Nuts, hazelnut manifestation, and yeah, let's look at that. It says, when hazelnut appears, we are entering a time when we will begin to dream a new dream and manifest a sweeter way of living that will be more rewarding to our soul. The spirit of hazelnut encourages entrepreneurial pursuits. This is a time of new beginnings and manifestation, especially pertaining to something we have been dreaming of. Regardless of how we pursue our dreams, the hazelnut reminds us to retain our sweetness and childlike sense of wonder. We are also being encouraged to pursue wisdom and learning in all forms that will continue to inspire us. Challenge: becoming complacent or lazy, losing touch with the wonderment of life, focusing on short-term pleasures versus envisioning long-term goals. Yeah, I do feel like there's like a reassessment about your long-term goals, and it's just really interesting. Maybe you're really dreaming of a partnership who really wants this same community feel, like they also are in alignment with community living. So maybe that's something you need to consider with your manifestations, is to start calling in someone who also wants to live in community with others. That's sort of what I'm feeling. So, and finally, if we couldn't get any more obvious with the messages of Redwood community, so let's look at that real fast and read Four of Evergreens. Redwood. Redwood spirit signals a need for creating community. This may be a time of reconnecting with family and friends for support and counsel. A wise elder may be entering a life to provide a path for reconnecting with our ancestral or spiritual roots. Yeah, there's definitely an ancestral energy with this group. Now is the time to honor the wisdom of the past and prevent making the same mistakes again. Remain open to learning the teachings that may once have been hidden from you. Challenge: feeling unheard by others, using sarcasm or a condescending tone when in the presence of those we could learn from. We may be blinding ourselves from finding our way, or we may be giving our power to someone else. I do feel like maybe there's a little bit of that happening, or has happened for you in the past, is giving your power away. And this time alone in reflection is helping you to heal some of that. And there's definitely a sense of like rebirth, reuniting, and after a period of absence or being away. But it's just so interesting, this like very ancient ancestral kind of vibe. So maybe you're really learning to connect with your ancestors too during this time. Maybe that's something, an important healing for you with regards to your relationships. Really connecting to heritage, and helps us to know where where our ancestors have been, and really helps us to understand where our healing needs to, what path our healing needs to take, and the experiences that maybe our ancestors didn't get to have, and that we are actually healing them through giving ourselves permission to get these experiences and have these experiences in this life. So yeah, I think that's all I'm seeing for pile 2. Hope this was beneficial to you. Thank you so much for taking the time and spending your time with me. I'm always honored that you would spend any time with me here on YouTube, and I know that we all have busy lives. So I hope this was beneficial. I hope you got something out of it. Please leave a comment below if you found it helpful. And I will see you again soon. All right. Bye, guys. Hello, beautiful pile 3. Welcome to your reading. And I am really excited to get in the cards. So let's take a look. We have from the Sacred Earth Oracle, you have the card Core. This, I'll be honest, this pile already, I was like, ooh, this one sounds familiar. So I kind of think it's an interesting, relevant. I can see how it applies to my life. So we have the Double Apple Shadow. Interesting. We have Perception. You have a 2 of Hardwoods in reverse, Ebony Clarity. You have also Space. You have the Chariot from the Black and Gold Tarot. You have 10 of Wands reversed. You have 7 of Fruit Trees, Persimmon, Divination. You have the Empress. And finally, you have the Ace of Swords. So, really interesting pile. Let's see. Like I said at the beginning, there was this recurring theme around patterns, and I really feel that this pile is really getting down to a deep core pattern of theirs that's coming up. So the deeper layers that we go, like the harder these lessons become, until you kind of get to that's interesting too. It's like the core, I think of the core of the apple, right? Like the core issue, the core of the issue, the heart of the issue. And this also kind of makes me think about like the poison apple, kind of, or the the forbidden fruit in the Adam and Eve story, where we bite into this, Eve bites into the apple, and it's sort of like she does this bad thing, but it's like it's giving her wisdom, right? That's the tree of knowledge, and it's not always easy. These lessons are not easy, and they can be painful. So with perception, there's this, I feel like there's this message coming through around determinism versus free will. Because when I think about the traditional devil, this often comes up with codependency issues. And you can really think about codependency issues in terms of, are we doing things because we think that's the right thing to do, or it's because it will get somebody to like us more, or it's a people-pleasing tendency, or are we doing it out of free will, right? Are we doing these things because we really want to, or are we doing it out of this sense that we aren't good enough and that we're not going to be loved if we don't, and we're desperate to sort of keep or gain people's acceptance? So that may be the lesson that you're working through right now. That may be the healing that needs to occur, is this really core issue around healing your relationship dynamics patterns. The other thing that makes me kind of think of that is the Chariot is often connected to the, correlated with the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is the home and family and the mother archetype and the nurturer archetype, and the nurturer mother archetype often has these people-pleasing kind of energies in the shadow form of them, because women are the ones keeping the sort of family structure together, and they can tend to over give and over nurture, because that has become sort of their identity. So I feel like you're really healing that. That's something that the message is to, your block to love is to work on healing this core issue. Let's look at the 7 of fruit trees, because when I tuned into these cards, I kept sort of hearing the same thing. I heard holy overload, which sounds kind of odd, but I feel like it makes sense to me. It's like when we are kind of a sensitive, psychically aware person, we can kind of get overloaded with knowing what everyone else around us needs. And that is actually the shadow aspect of being psychic, is that we developed that capacity to keep ourselves safe, because we could anticipate and give people what they needed, so that we could appease them and we could get our needs met, and we can feel safe. So kind of the shadow feeling toward this shadow issue with being psychic is that we can use that to manipulate. And I hopefully don't trigger you too much by using the word manipulate, because manipulate is not inherently bad. It's not an inherently bad thing. But we all humans do it, We can manipulate a situation. We can in order to get what we need out of a situation or a person, we can tend to have this pattern of wanting to orchestrate ourselves and the environment by kind of doing the dance, or twisting ourselves, or bending ourselves into a shape that fits. So let's look at divination. 7 of fruits. Persimmon reminds us that we have a choice to make. So it goes back to that free will versus determinism that I talked about. Persimmon reminds us that we have a choice to make. Guidance can come in all forms, through our dreams, our experiences, and through the use of divination. Divination is the practice of seeking divine knowledge by finding meaning or inspiration in daily life. Message. Persimmon is an important reminder to be conscious of the choices we are making in our lives, especially our perceptions. So like I said, learning to be conscious of when we are doing this, becoming self-aware of when we are maybe falling into a pattern of manipulation or needing to get someone's approval, and instead of doing that, we can make a free will choice as to how we're going to actually move forward. And maybe we call ourselves out. Maybe say to the person, I'm really needing this from you right now, instead of trying to get it by being super nice and then hoping that they give it to us back, give us something back. Our awareness of our choice is both empowering and liberating. Not all choices provide immediate gratification. Some require time before coming to fruition, especially those that come to us in our dreams and visions. It can seem frustrating, but in the end, rewards will be worth it. When persimmon appears in our life, we are being asked to make the necessary choices to achieve our goals. This is a time of action in order to make our dreams a reality. Challenge: procrastination, indecisiveness, stubbornness, or allowing everything to happen without effort or thought. This creates a self-fulfilling trap or loop that goes nowhere. So I feel like that's kind of the nugget here. Allowing everything to happen without effort or thought, which is in a sense what I was saying about determinism, which is sort of like going with the flow so much. That can be another shadow. It's like, going with the flow, not taking us, a straight path or putting forth what we want in a direct way, taking action in a very proactive and empowered way, just sort of letting things sort of happen to us. That can be an unhealthy pattern of codependence as well, that we kind of appease by just going with the flow so much that we lose ourselves. And that goes back to this shadow, when you aren't clear on who you are and what you want, people, not even necessarily maliciously, are going to sort of take the wheel of our lives for us and direct. Not taking an action is still making a choice, but then it's not a conscious choice, and that kind of alleviates of us of feeling super responsible. But then we can be a victim to circumstance, and that can actually kind of feel bad in the long run. So the cards are really talking about taking some time to shift our perceptions about how we act in the world and why we're doing the things we're doing. It really has been coming back to this message about looking at our patterns, perceiving ourselves clearly. There's this card of clarity, right? Really taking a hard look at how we behave and how that plays into the kind of people that we are attracting. Because the bottoms of the decks that I have was magnetism, emperor, and action. I'll show you. But the bottoms of the deck are always kind of give me hints. You have emperor, and you have magnetism. So who you're attracting this kind of guy that's like kind of, or girl, or whoever you're after, the kind of energy of someone who's not a healthy emperor type person. He's controlling, overbearing. And why is that? Because if you're not taking action and direct action, and you're not clear on who you are as a person and what you want in the world, and being direct with that, and having clarity and purpose, other people are going to take over, like I said, and it's going to feel like you're being victimized by people sort of taking your life and running with it. And yeah, this is, this is the card of action. This is a card of forward movement. The message is really about taking control of your own destiny, your own life, getting clear, taking up space, but also taking space for yourself. Learning to take up space. I feel like that's a pretty big message for that card. And you're going to be able to then really come into this energy of divinity, worthiness, wholeness. I feel like this is also talking about mending the split in your consciousness. Like, you're going to be when you take conscious action and take control and use your clarity and the wisdom that you've learned by digging into the core of who you are, getting to know yourself on a very deep soul level, heart level. And this is once you're solid in this, then you're not going to be taken off course and kind of at the mercy of people who may not have the attunement to have your best interests at heart. And you won't be magnetizing these types of people to you anymore when you start to really take strong action from an aligned place of knowing yourself and knowing what you need and want. So really cool messages, guys. I love this reading. I loved this pile. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this brings some clarity, and I hope you join me again in the future. It was an honor to read your cards as always, and I hope you enjoyed this new deck. I will leave the link in the description below if you liked it, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye, guys.